Good evening, San Diego. I'm Chief Meteorologist Carlene Chavis, and thank you for tuning in for your CBS 8 Plus weather update. Well, pretty quiet for today and very beautiful start to the week. Even over the weekend, we did have a lot of sunshine, and that's because we had Santa Ana winds that started to pick up. Now, we saw that sunshine on Saturday as well as Sunday. Even felt a little warm yesterday. Now, that's because temperatures started to climb just a little bit more. We did have a cool down into the start of the weekend, then we had to change things up with the area of high pressure building in. Now, we are talking about an area of low pressure that is sweeping by to the northwest. That's why we saw the high clouds. You can still kind of see them in this live shot from our Mount Soledad cam, even though our sun has set, which happened about 2 minutes before 5 tonight. So we're still dealing with onshore flow, at least through tomorrow morning, and so that brings in the possibility of seeing a patchy marine layer. So some low clouds as well as some patchy fog developing, and then everything clears out as Santa Ana winds start to pick up in that forecast. Unfortunately, that's going to lead to elevated fire weather concerns for us here in San Diego County, especially for the inland valleys as well as for the mountains. Now, I say this, when we have alerts, the focus is the fact that these two areas, they will be really likely for any development or growth from one little spark. We could see anything happening even closer towards the coast as we've had a lack of rainfall. It's been a very late start to our rainy season, a very dry start. So we haven't seen a lot of moisture, and our deficit across the county because of that lack of moisture is anywhere between about 3 to 4 inches of rainfall. So we definitely could use the rainfall. Familiar saying in Southern California, and especially this winter as we've been dealing with rounds of Santa Ana winds. So with them back, fire weather warning will be in effect starting at 4 a.m. That's on Wednesday morning and lasting all the way through Thursday evening. So that's with some low humidity values as wind gusts do pick up, bringing it down to about 10 to 20% with relative humidity across these two particular areas. And then also Thursday talking about even drier conditions. So just the dry air that's going to be around in our forecast. Outdoor burning is not recommended. And as mentioned, any fire could develop from just one little spark and lead to that rapid growth for those two particular areas. That's why we have the warning. But anywhere in the county, we could see that because of dry conditions. It's just more favorable for those two spots. We have the high wind warning. Now that's going to start tomorrow afternoon. We're still dealing with onshore flow into tomorrow morning. That's why we'll still see some of the marine layers, not talking about a strong one, but we will see some morning clouds and then get to that afternoon sunshine. The high wind warning is also for the inland valleys as well as for the mountains. And that's with sustained wind speeds out of the northeast in the 20s and 30s. And then you have those gusts upwards of about 50 to 60 miles per hour. The strongest winds are going to be overnight hours on Tuesday night all the way through Wednesday morning. And then the strongest winds are also anticipated east of the 15. So the backcountry dealing with the brunt of it. And that's what we're anticipating over the next couple of days. And then wind speeds will be calming down. But note, with the high wind warning, it goes all the way until 6 p.m. on Wednesday night. Well, we still have the red flag warning that's going to keep going all the way into Thursday night, because even though wind speeds are going to be calming down and not strong enough to continue this alert, we're still going to be dealing with that dry air that's going to be left over for Thursday and then also for Friday, but not looking at any alerts as of tonight being issued for Friday. When we take a more expansive view across the west, we have an area of low pressure that brought in some of those high clouds you saw earlier today. And also, we're going to see some passing high clouds in our forecast as that low stays nearby. But that's also the reason we're talking about offshore winds. And that's because these two different systems are going to be really close to each other in the atmosphere. So that close proximity creates what we call a tight pressure gradient leading to the Santa Ana wind. So yeah, getting pretty close, and you start to see that developing, especially by tomorrow afternoon and then lasting all the way through Wednesday as well as Thursday when it does come to those gusty offshore winds. Area of high pressure will start to break down. Area of low pressure finally exits out. Not talking about the close proximity of these two. And as a result, high pressure will still be over us by Friday, so we're still going to be warmer than usual with our temperatures, but we'll have an area of low pressure sweeping by to the north of us across the Pacific Northwest that is going to push that area of high pressure down to the south just a little bit more, and then that breaks down that pattern of Santa Ana winds. When we set the fire risk in motion, the in-house model, you're starting to see our risk start to go up by the afternoon hours on Tuesday, even some pockets where it's going to be high already, like Ramona, seeing that near Pine Valley right along the 8, also for North County, and that includes Camp Pendleton. Then you're looking at those chances intensifying even more, and this is going to be during the time frame of that red flag warning. You're seeing it more widespread. You're seeing a lot more of the deeper reds. That's indicating a high risk when it does come to our fire weather concerns over the next few days. Everything starts to calm down just a little bit more as we go into Wednesday night. You're seeing that about 7 p.m. it becomes a little bit more concentrated across the mountains, and then things start to improve over the weekend as we have another area of low pressure sweeping by to the north of us. You have overnight lows widespread in the 40s, so 41 degrees expected for Escondido, the same for Chula Vista, even some 40s right along the coast for Carlsbad as well as for Del Mar. 48 degrees expected for an overnight low for downtown, and 31 for Ramona. Your daytime highs for tomorrow will be a little above seasonal across inland areas. Average high for this time of the year is 66 degrees, but you're looking at those low 70s. That's for Escondido as well as for El Cajon. You're going to be right on the money with a seasonal high tomorrow for downtown at 65, and then you also have the 50s and 60s across the mountains as well as for the desert. The next 7 days for the coast, you have 65 degrees tomorrow for the coast. That's an average high, but then you're going above that as those wind speeds start to pick up. You have 71 degrees on Wednesday. We're going to see some passing high clouds because of that area of low pressure just kind of hanging around for a couple days, creating this offshore pattern, and so that's going to bring in some high cloud coverage, and the temperatures kind of go a little bit lower, and that's going to be by Thursday and Friday for the coast, but still being warmer than usual by a few degrees, and then 63 by Saturday. Across the inland valleys, you're looking at the 70s over the next 4 days. Weather impact alert days because of the fire weather concerns. So as mentioned, Santa Ana winds start to pick up by tomorrow afternoon, and then into the overnight hours from Tuesday all the way through Wednesday. That's when they're expected to peak, and then still dealing with those fire weather concerns through Thursday. We get back to those 60s to kick off the weekend for the inland valleys on Saturday. For the mountains, you have weather impact alert days from tomorrow afternoon all the way through Thursday, and you're also looking at pretty consistent temperatures that will stay around the 50s and a whole lot of sunshine in that forecast. For the next 7 days for the desert, not talking about any alerts. It will stay dry in the desert. A few high clouds added to the scenery by tomorrow because that area of low pressure moving a little bit closer towards Southern California desert, and that brings in some upper 60s, but then that low exits out. That brings back the 70s starting on Thursday, and they last all the way through the weekend. I hope you have a great night, and thanks for tuning in.